In the demanding world of oil and gas, precision, safety, and efficiency are non-negotiable. Unmanned operator drone services revolutionizes how you monitor, inspect, and manage your operations. With cutting-edge technology and expert operators, we deliver real-time data, detailed reports, and actionable insights for our valuable clients. Why risk the safety of your team or waste precious time? Our drones access even the most challenging areas with ease, reducing downtime and enhancing safety across your sites. We take the guesswork out of your projects by offering LiDAR, mapping, and inspection services so that your projects stay safe, on budget, and on time. Unmanned operator drone services, where technology meets safety, precision, and efficiency. Contact us today to elevate your operations. Yes, pun intended.
Welcome to Minot Talk this beautiful Tuesday morning.
Wasn't sure how you were gonna start that, but yeah, it's a nice day. It's a little breezy out, but it's not too cold. Chance of freezing rain in some parts of the state, but hey, we're here. We made it. I bet they weren't ready for that start.
The ad at the beginning.
Yeah, he threw a curveball. I wasn't ready for it. I was ready to go, and then here comes the ad.
We had to go to an ad because he wasn't ready to go. He was on a rant.
I was yapping. You're right.
I'm kidding. All right. It's end of year.
It is.
So we have to talk about that.
We got to wrap up the whole last year.
Our friends to the east going through some pain.
Minnesota is a mess, it sounds like, without a doubt. Gonna talk a little bit about that, and more importantly, I think how I think it relates to North Dakota.
And we're going to talk about more.
Yes. Anything in between that pops up, don't be shocked if it comes and swings through. But
part of the and more is what's going to happen this afternoon.
Yeah, we're doing round 2 of the Minot Pizza Challenge. Minot Pizza Review Challenge.
Thanks to everybody that liked, commented, shared.
Love that engagement. That was great.
Yeah,
and
it was a good time.
Based off that engagement on the comment section, I think Night Train is going to be the winner for today's pizza.
Night Train's next one up. So we will do our best to get a medium pepperoni from Night Train in slices, not squares, in slices.
And well, I mean, the square slices thing isn't a huge thing.
Yeah, but it does make a difference. That first bite, you know.
It does, but
that's not Sammy's fault.
No, that's just
because that's the way the buffet works.
Mm-hmm. My thing, I just like I love all the comments that come in wanting us to eat a specific pizza, and generally speaking, I would be all for that. But like for what we're doing right now, we want to have a specific baseline set, so we can try to make a baseline variable across the different challenges and places we try to have something to stack up against each other.
But we had this idea of how to finish it out, and it was, well, we're going to take the top 2 scores, and then we each get a honorable mention, and so it'll be top 3 places, top 2 based on scores, and 1 based off of let's give this one a chance. It might be because it's 3rd place in scores too. It might all work out that way. And then do the best pizza they got.
That's fair. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's the way to do it. The house special.
Yeah, I think basically just the house special.
Pizza. Yeah.
Because someone might say that the best one is with sauerkraut on it, and I'm just not there for that.
You don't like sauerkraut?
No.
Opens up your sinuses in the morning, that's for sure.
But if we just did the house special, then we might just have to avoid a couple mushrooms and be all right.
I could deal with that. I can get.
Do you like mushrooms?
I'm not a mushroom
Okay,
guy.
we can get them without mushrooms.
Yeah, we can.
We'll both like it.
We can do that. I'm all for that.
Boom. Done. All right.
Also, part of the more to
That'll
start
probably
out.
be next. That'll be probably 2027 because there's probably 52 pizza places, but nonetheless.
Exactly. Especially when we start counting like the gas station pizza and stuff too.
You might just have to go with like the best gas station pizza and go to the one. Because probably every gas station has one.
They're a little, and a couple of them are going to have the same, but some of them are going to be a little different. And
like maybe hot stuff. Is there still hot stuff in Minot?
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah. I want to say.
Because a lot of them went to Hunt's.
Or it's like their own.
Yeah. So we'll have to.
Yeah, you're right on that.
We'll have to see how that works. But
do our research.
Very good.
Also, former Governor Alan Olson passed away over the weekend. He was governor from 1980 to 1984, former Attorney General before that. He was governor during the early 80s. He was a Republican, and I felt like that was something worthy of mentioning.
It definitely is. So
he I know was from, I believe, Bismarck originally, then went and he was an attorney and went and finished out his career out in Minnesota, which, interestingly enough, is where a lot of our conversation today is going to be at.
Interesting enough, for sure.
Do you have anything else you want to touch on? Anything local before we jump into that?
I do not.
Okay. Well, coming out from this weekend, there was a video that's been circulating online from YouTuber / independent journalist Nick Shirley out in Minnesota, where he went to different Minneapolis area daycares, and he went to film, and a lot of them ended up being empty. And the significant thing with these daycares is that they were recipients of a lot of government funding from the state of Minnesota, and a lot of them happened to be Somalia-owned, which is also connecting to the larger fraud scheme that relates to a lot of the Somali healthcare issues.
This is an incredible story that's coming out, and I was pretty well disconnected for the last little bit. So
yeah, I didn't catch this until yesterday. Really, weekend was minimal.
But first off, this is a YouTube video.
Yep,
by Nick Shirley. Do you know much about Nick Shirley?
No, I did not. I had not. I don't think I'd heard of him before this weekend. Maybe like in passing, but nothing.
Right.
Nothing significant that I'd never followed him previously.
I didn't either. But I think what's important about this is the reason why I mention it is because, like, yeah, independent journalism of some type is really important in the day and age that we live in.
Yeah, 100%. Actually working on a little piece for a first of the year column that it's going to make a comeback, but we'll see if I can release that
for 1 week.
Yeah, exactly. For 1 week out of the month, yes. But you make a great point with that. Independent journalism is something that is very necessary in today's day and age. Obviously, you have to be able to independently verify what comes from those places. But as you see with this, there's clearly a need for independent journalism to go to places that aren't often gone to by the professionals and those people that are tenured and established in the
right
larger picture.
Because what happens, I feel like what happens is that you have these people in the media that for whatever reason they like access is really important. Mm-hmm. And it's something that we've had conversations about, like where do we draw lines of what's going on, because you want to make sure that you don't alienate yourself and you don't want to go into the waters where you're not fully fact or anything like that. Yeah. where it feels very very factful. Mm-hmm. Feels like you have basis for it, but it is at the end of the day a little bit speculative. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of harm can be done there.
Yeah. We love to throw around a little reckless speculation once in a while, but when it comes to these bigger issues, we like to keep it more grounded.
Like if the Christmas tree is going to fall down.
Yes.
That's where some good reckless speculation.
We'll speculate all day on that. Once in a while, if maybe something on where Minot City Council is planning to vote, we might speculate.
Right,
but when it comes to the Dunseith situation, we try not to speculate and we try to let the evidence
speak for itself.
Yeah.
And that's a unique thing. Like, there's not a lot of media companies that have touched that in North Dakota.
No, and that's why I wanted to relate to this whole situation, because what we're seeing in the state of Minnesota is likely a massive, massive fraudulent scale. That is something that probably hasn't really been seen on a statewide level to this scale, possibly ever. And I don't think that this is a unique thing to the state of Minnesota. I think this is something that goes across borders. And I don't know. The biggest thing that I think a lot of people are talking about is compliance in this Minnesota situation specifically. Right. Did government officials know what was going on? And if so, did they get kickbacks? Or did they just throw this money out willy-nilly and not have any kind of second thought? Didn't look at any follow-ups, didn't really go follow through with any of that past reporting, or what they did get reported to them, they didn't really look into.
I feel like there's more questions that can be asked on that too. Mm-hmm. If it did help if it was, I mean, I don't know. Why did the money go to the places that it went? And that's kind of what you're talking about. Yep. But I think there's a very granular way to look at that too, to see if there was other motives with it.
For a fact. And I think that's what's going to eventually come out is, did anyone...
Do you think so? Do you think it'll actually come out?
I think it has a good chance of coming out in this story.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say for a fact because
Well, I mean,
I'm
I get
cynic to a
that,
degree,
but
yeah, I think it has a
but
better
you're
chance
saying
than
90% plus chance.
I'd say 60% plus chance.
See,
I'm
that's
saying
not very hot.
it's more than 50-50.
I mean, when I gave a 6.5 on pizza, I was getting like set the bar way too high.
You were, it was gotta even it out a little.
We got it up to 6.9.
Yeah. Or I think you settled on 6.8.
No, 6.9. It had to be 6.9. It was right next to 7.
Okay.
It had to be
It was
6.9.
like 6 or 7 somewhere in there.
Go away.
But to circle back to the Minnesota story, this is something that I think does relate to North Dakota, especially because with what we've been doing with the Dunseith situation specifically, and generally, there's a lot more broader topics that can be discussed on this too.
Right.
Whether it be the Commerce's film and media grants situation that's been going on. Make sure you check out Matt Firm on YouTube.
I think that's the best example of what I was trying to say with the stuff where it feels like that money was designated to people and you had this formal process because it's government money, but at the whole time it was going to go to these people. It's something like that.
And that's the question in Minnesota. Was that happening? Did they just hand money out to anybody?
Right.
Or did they know that they were going to give the money to these people in the end?
Right. Whoever received it, whoever these people is.
And I think that the state of North Dakota has to be wary of what maybe not is happening currently, but what happened over the last decade to 2 decades in the upper levels of the Commerce Department and the North Dakota Development Fund. There's a lot of places where those departments can give money, whether it be grant, loan money, whatever it might be. They are able to dole out a lot of fiscal responsibility to these companies. And a lot of times, as we've seen specifically with Chiptronics in Fargo as a subsidiary company to a battery plant that's out there, they promised to make 95 jobs and create so much work, and lo and behold, at the most, they created 3 jobs. And they were given hundreds of thousands of dollars in subsidiary grant money that was, used as a middleman of the company Packet Digital out in Fargo. Not to mention Chiptronics' involvement with the whole Dunseith situation itself.
The fact of the matter is, when there's government money, that we've got to get to a place where we have more oversight.
Yeah.
Because this is the same thing that's happening with what's going on at City Council right now, where they are doing a huge focus of trying to get accountability on the money that they're giving out.
Yeah.
And
one thing that they're doing specifically on that is with the Magic Fund in town. Any recipient of the Magic Fund, they're now going to have a requirement for them to give a more detailed expenditure report of where the money that they got from the fund was spent at. And
so important.
It is. And I think, obviously, in theory, it's easy to, you can, maybe not easy, but it is doable to work around and lie about those things. However, that's where a secondary part comes, where you actually have to maybe do occasionally, I'm not saying this is a monthly or maybe even a yearly thing, but you have to occasionally stop in and check on these places to make sure that there is actual physical work being done there.
Right.
Because as you see in Minnesota, apparently they don't always want to have the kids there that they say are supposed to be there receiving daycare facilities.
Whoops.
Or I guess one thing that I've seen is, maybe when he was going there to video, it wasn't during the operating hours. That was one of the big counters I saw.
So we're thinking he went like after 5.
Yeah, or on the weekend or something. But it's northern U.S., so we know the sun doesn't stay out too late at night.
Right.
But I don't know. This is a crazy one, and I really think that it is. I don't want to say that. I really hope that this will open up some more doors, not just in Minnesota, not just in North Dakota, but across the country, for independent journalists to be able to take a step in the right direction, and also hopefully push the threshold for regular journalists that are established in the media to be able to keep the pressure going as well.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's something that is really important that we don't forget is, what is the role of journalism? What's the role of journalism, Kyler? Put you on the spot.
Yeah, I think generally it is to be as objective as possible. You work for the public. I think your first role should be to the public as a journalist, not to the company you work for, but that is a very gray area, I understand. And I really think that you have to be mindful of what you do, and you have to be accountable for what you put out as well.
Yeah. For sure.
Unfortunately, it seems like a lot of times the bottom line is a determining factor for these things.
It's the bottom line, but I think also it's difficult because you develop relationships as you go through it, and eventually, if you're not careful, you're put into a position where you have to negatively report on someone that you have a close relationship with.
Yeah.
And that's just hard for human nature to do.
It is. When you're pretty close to friends with these people, it's not an easy thing to do. Or on top of that, if you have, or if you want to, like you mentioned earlier with access, the ability to continue to talk to these people and for them to give you information that you might not be privy to otherwise, it's something that you want to keep up.
Brings it to the year in review. One of the biggest stories of the year in Minot was the resignation of our mayor.
That was, I think, the story of the year for us.
Yeah. And so difficult time because in a small community, everybody's close somewhat.
Yeah.
Right?
Everybody, now you see everybody out and about. If you're at the grocery store, if you're out and doing stuff at community events, people are all related and connected in the area.
I think generally the local journalists have a desire to help the community. If you look at in our community, I think that'd be truthful. I don't know if that could be said for everybody, but
generally
I
speaking, yes,
yeah.
I think they all have the best interest in mind. Now, a lot of times what maybe they're allowed to pursue is maybe questionable at times, but I think at the very least they all do have the best interest in mind. I don't think there's any nefarious issues going on locally by any means with the journalists, but I think a lot of times I think the two biggest things are access and money. And money not for them, but for the company they work for.
Right.
Because say you're writing, I don't want to throw specifics out right now, but say you're writing, you heard of a financial scandal in a big company in town, and they're one of your primary sponsors. Does that knowledge of knowing you get thousands of dollars from this company a month, and if you write this story about them, that going away, does that affect things?
Right.
In a local matter, I think sometimes at least, yes.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, year in review, man.
Let's start back in January.
Let's go to January. Let's go all the way to the back.
We'll go a year back from now. We were finishing up the Dunseith debacle situation live stream event where we had Joe Jacobson and Ed Pearson on. And we had also, 17 or 18 state legislators that came on and were part of it as well, where we did a big conversation roundtable. And then following that was when the governor, Kelly Armstrong, was inaugurated, and you had legislative cycle start. And there was a lot that went on in the legislative session this year, especially starting off the bat. Obviously, property taxes was the huge thing coming into the session. You had a couple deaths at the legislative session this year. That was always never a good thing to see. But going throughout, I think one really interesting thing too was how we were developing as ourselves throughout that time. We were that's when we really solidified having 2 days a week for the podcast. And that's when we tried to really step up the game to follow the legislative cycle.
Yeah.
And
it was our first one.
It was.
We were trying to figure out how to do it. And I think it was a good approach.
Yeah,
so
I think for the most part, it worked out very well.
Yep.
And we obviously back a year ago, we had a very good friend of the show, Leif Snyder, was a big part of helping us out. And unfortunately, Leif did pass away this year. It was a incredibly unexpected and tragic event. We still have, I believe in here somewhere, we have his HB 1317, the kicking the can down the road of...
Yeah, we've even thrown a little trash in there just to kind of highlight it.
1176, that's what it was, yep. Where obviously property tax relief is extensive throughout the state, but property tax reform, in my opinion, is still...
lacking.
Yeah.
It's not here yet.
And so the can has been kicked down the road, as Leif predicted, and so we're still watching it and see how that progresses throughout time. Right around that same time frame was I found out how to use the archives at the Minot Public Library.
So we had Kyler's column.
And looked back at a whole bunch of former newspaper articles where I could start writing about stuff that happened in the past, whether it be the big chemical spill and explosion on South Hill, the train derailment back in 2002, or my favorite one, the other mayors of Minot that have resigned.
Yeah, that was your favorite?
Because it was for contextually a little bit. But one interesting thing that happened last year, we already talked about it. One of the major things that happened last year was Mayor Ross's resignation. And
well, we just briefly mentioned it.
I think there's been some questions on the timeline of how it all played out.
I don't know if there's been questions.
There hasn't been questions. There's been insinuations on the timeline of it. How about that?
That's fair.
That I don't know if I necessarily subscribe to. Maybe I'll have to write an article about it so people can read it. But my interpretation of the timeline is this was something that was pushed off further than it should have been when the internal investigation began in late January in the situation. Obviously, we're familiar with what happened, and you can question why the internal investigation didn't proceed faster and why it took till the end of March to finally take place.
I think this is always questions that are asked on the outside, and there's probably most of the time decent answers on the inside.
Yeah. And from what it sounded like, there was a lot of back and forth between parties, but really that week prior to April 1st is when things started to come to a head, because they knew they were going to be having another city council meeting coming up quick, and this is becoming a thing that we were starting to hear about it at this point, in more than just something's kind of happening behind the scenes. And so at that stage, that's when you start kind of asking questions about what's going on here, and then you hear that, maybe you start hearing about what's actually going on. Then you hear maybe he's not going to actually resign. Maybe
there was rumors of that.
There was, and no one knew what was going on over that weekend. And so finally, on Tuesday, April 1st, they set a special session for City Council to meet.
Yeah, but let's not forget about what happened on Tuesday, April 1st.
I know that was a full day, because there was rumors flying from left and right about what was going on.
There was reports by others that the meeting was called off. But, and they were false. The meeting was not called off. There was some internal discussion whether it was not going to happen, but the report was premature because the discussions were ongoing.
Yep. And so the meeting was still held that day. The council came out without the mayor there. They announced his resignation, and that was the end of it.
That was the end of it. And
then the whole summer happened.
Then the whole summer happened. That was the end of that and beginning of the next phase we just got through.
Yeah.
And now we get to go through that part of the process again.
Yeah, a whole new election cycle, which I love.
Yeah, it's incredible. That was one of the second most popular story that we had was about the Minot mayor under investigation. What comes next?
What was our most popular one?
A small front company in a North Dakota town. 600 ended up threatening to shut down U.S. commercial aviation.
We'll get there.
Yep.
So,
but you want to know what was our fourth and fifth?
Of course.
Fourth, not guilty. Nicole Rice acquitted in Anita Kinston murder trial. Mm-hmm. And fifth, Governor Armstrong signs window tint bill into law.
Of all the ones, that one? Really? Okay.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah, a lot of people get worked in.
They did get worked in about the window tint.
And also another one that took place throughout the legislative cycle was not just the window tint thing, but you had the speed limits changed throughout the state, too. That was, I know that got talked about quite a bit, too.
94.
I love how those were the ones that fell there. But back to the Anita Knutson trial that took place in late March, right around the same time as the whole situation with the mayor was developing. Obviously, that's been something in the works for 15 years. We had Kim Fundingsland on a podcast to talk about it with us. We followed it. I live tweeted a couple days of the trial. I wasted a lot of time watching that thing.
So, and then did Dateline show up? Is that who showed up?
They did.
NBC Dateline showed up. This is a behind the scenes thing. Should have probably got more pictures of it.
Yeah.
Kim Fundingsland used one of the offices that we have here, and some of the NBC Dateline crew was here and filmed him for some of the B-roll for their episode that they're going to do.
So you can see a couple shots of Kim doing some things as background footage, and that's here at the Dakota. That's our extra studio.
Yeah. So that was pretty neat.
Yeah.
But
obviously Nicole Rice found not guilty of the situation. Big move there. Big questions about the investigation called into play, and also the prosecution in the state's attorney's office.
But it seemed like the storyline that came out of it was none of that. It was simply the reaction.
Yeah.
Which is an incredible thing.
Sandlaw just halfway losing their minds when the not guilty came out, and understandably for Nicole and family.
Yeah.
Felt a little off on the attorney's side.
Yep.
Which, man, I remember we should reach out. Should we see if we can do a year interview 1 year later with Sand Law guys?
They're not going. We did reach out.
We tried.
We had no luck.
Yeah, there was no response. It is what it is. That was fun. Then you fast.
And to be fair, there's no obligation of them to do it.
Not whatsoever.
Interview.
They're
not
public officials.
Right. There's
They are.
no obligation for them to even respond to our email.
Yep, they are private individuals that work for their own private company. That is solely on them.
Right.
But on top of that situation and the mayor situation, and then the petition. Oh man, the petition! Remember, we were just going to appoint Janser mayor, and then we get a petition out, which apparently you fast forward 6 months, and
This is the interesting
we didn't
part.
even have to follow it in the first place.
Right, but at the time,
We thought we did.
yeah, whatever you want to say about it, the verbiage that I was hearing felt like we had to do this.
Yeah, 110%. Like, it is a citizen-initiated petition, and we have to follow it because it got the required amount of signatures.
Right.
Which apparently we don't.
We don't.
So, future reference. But that was... So then we have... everyone starts jumping into the race for mayor, and it's a 4-way race, and that was where a lot of our early summer months were spent covering.
Yeah, a lot of time I spent on this. And we had one of the most epic things that has happened
In Minot.
this year.
Ever.
No, this year.
Ever.
Tyler.
What did we do again?
What did we do?
Was it the debate? Is that what you were going with?
Yes.
Okay, I was hoping. I was like, what if it's not? But yeah, we hosted a debate in June for the mayor race, and I think it probably the highlight of working on the Dakotan for me
Sounds about right.
Getting a chance to moderate a debate. That was a bucket list item for me. I think it went fantastic. We had great turnout. Again, shout out to everyone that showed up. But
Yeah, so that would be our most viewed, because the Measure 4 debate was
last year, like
in
last
2024,
October,
right?
I think.
Yeah. So that was the most viewed video
Of 2025 was the debate.
Yeah, it was a debate, and that got split up into two. So
Yep, you combine them both.
or that was, I should say, that was the most viewed live, not
Fair.
the most viewed video.
Yeah,
Most viewed
because
live.
there's something else for the most viewed video, I
Yeah,
assume.
always.
And that brings us over to the summer stuff, which one thing that I put out there, I had 2 articles that I really liked at the late spring, early summer. One was discussing what I talked about at the start here when we were talking about Minnesota, and that's the Chiptronics business and their loose involvement in Dunseith, and also how the development fund was doling out cash to other companies associated with Dunseith and Chiptronics, and how Chiptronics kept showing up, and in all of these times they promised outcomes and jobs to be made, and from everything that's been able to be found, they were unable to create or produce any of that. And on top of that, in a couple situations, one specifically, they weren't even an operating business when they were listed as a subsidiary company in 2021.
Wah, wah, wah.
Crazy situation. But then that was probably early June, late May when I released that one. So then in June, I think it was in June, is when I dropped that perception article on Minot. Does Minot have a perception issue?
Yeah.
And I think we had some great conversation come from
we
that.
did.
It was, I think, especially at that time, Minot did suffer from a perception issue. And
We don't still?
I think we do to a degree. I don't think it's as severe since we don't have a 4-way special election for mayor going on right now. But and also our police department isn't under investigation, and all we got to worry about now is the falling of the Christmas tree. So that's a lot better in that regard.
Top viewed videos this year. So there's some that were released last year that are actually the top viewed this year.
Fair.
That'd be episode 1 and 2 of the Dunseith debacle.
Okay.
And then you have the most viewed one that was released this year was the mayoral debate. Episode 4 of the Dunseith debacle comes in 4th place. But then the most viewed video that was put out this year, because I believe episode 4 was also put out last year, I believe. Yeah, it was put out December 13th. So the most viewed video this year that was not alive is what?
Has to be our interview with Ben Wetmore.
Nope.
Uh-oh, what is it?
Is the interview with one of the mayoral candidates, Josiah Royce.
Okay.
Like, that one got around. And the second most viewed one is actually episode 5 of the Dunseith debacle deal. But then the interview with Jim Bugalis That was number 3. And then you had number 4 as far as videos released this year was Benjamin Wetmore.
There it is. Okay, that one's still got, well, I guess not much time at this stage, but that's been our best performing video as of the second half of the year.
Yeah, for sure. But to be fair, that one was put out in November. And
it still has climbed that fast in not maybe 6 weeks at most. I mean, if that. So love to see that. It was a fun year making videos there.
It was
back in what happened in. Oh yeah, that's when, because speaking of Josiah, he had Constitutional Sheriff Richard Mack here to do an event, and I went there, and they said some fun stuff there that I wrote an article about.
Spun up an article.
Yeah, I had to at that stage.
All right, we're gonna go to a quick break. We'll be back, finish up your review, and go over a couple other things.
I love it.
On the lookout for.
In the demanding world of oil and gas, precision, safety, and efficiency are non-negotiable. Unmanned operator drone services revolutionizes how you monitor, inspect, and manage your operations. With cutting-edge technology and expert operators, we deliver real-time data, detailed reports, and actionable insights for our valuable clients. Why risk the safety of your team or waste precious time? Our drones access even the most challenging areas with ease, reducing downtime and enhancing safety across your sites. We take the guesswork out of your projects by offering LiDAR, mapping, and inspection services so that your projects stay safe, on budget, and on time. Unmanned operator drone services, where technology meets safety, precision, and efficiency. Contact us today to elevate your operations. Yes, pun intended.
Enjoy Minot's finest authentic Mexican cuisine with a view at Mi Mexico. The rooftop patio is open and ready for you to enjoy a margarita or other cool refreshment along with genuine mouth-watering Mexican entrees. Mi Mexico, South Broadway.
We're back.
Well, howdy. How's Jonathan?
Still doing all right.
I love it. So where'd we leave off?
Yeah, basically in the middle of the...
Pretty much summertime, late summer. Yeah.
Finally went and did some... As the election season came to an end, did some polling.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was what? It was
pretty accurate.
It was pretty accurate.
Pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Like you can, I mean, obviously a survey and polls are always a snapshot in time, but if you look at the
exit polling,
the exit polling, and you look at the polls that we did from earlier in the summer too, both of those lined up fairly well with the actual outcome.
Way to go, Kyler.
That was fun.
Yes,
that was my highlight too. The second half of the year.
Sounds like you had a fun year.
I did. It was a blast.
That's good.
That's what I'm here for. Just have fun.
Yeah.
Rock it. But no, the polling was great. It came out, especially the exit polling. It was almost spot on for how the race finished itself. Right, yeah. I think it had within a couple points of the second and third place for how they finished.
Right.
And obviously, Mark Janser won. We had the election in August, and then that immediately went into. This is where the whole petition thing came up now.
Yeah.
Because they were going to appoint someone for the council, and then we get another petition to have another election, which would have just taken place like a couple weeks ago had that happened.
Were there enough signatures on it?
There was.
Okay.
But this is where City Attorney Steph Stallheim and others come out and say, hey, we've been informed after talking with people and looking a little deeper that the way the city government is set up, we don't have to actually follow the petition. We can just use it as a guideline.
Yeah.
Which specifically in that instance, I don't think there was anything wrong with.
No, I don't think there was anything wrong with it either. Nobody wanted to have that. Well, there were a few people that wanted to.
The majority likely did not want.
Yeah.
I think is probably safe to say.
Right.
And we ended up there was like 15 people that put their hat in the ring for that thing.
There was a lot.
There was a lot.
What does that mean? What does that mean, Kyler, for this next election?
I think we're going to see. Okay, so let's take a trip back a little bit. Let's look at 2022. There were 5 candidates on the ballot for 3 spots for council in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we are going to see more than that this year. I think that we will see 8 to 10. I think it will be similar to what we saw 2 years ago in 2024 when we had 7 people on the ballot. I think it's going to be a tight race regardless. I think we're going to see a lot of new faces coming to the council this year. I think at least, so there are 3 seats up. I think at least 2 of them don't run again.
Right.
Lisa Olson for sure. And of the other 2, I'm just throwing out there 50-50 odds on that. And I think that we're going to see some new people. I think we'll see some old faces come to run for council. I think we'll see some.
So how many people are going to run?
I'm going to say 8.
8.
8's my gut feeling.
How many incumbents are going to run?
1.
1 incumbent
And 7 challengers
and 7 challengers.
for 3 seats. That's my thoughts. What about you?
Does an incumbent get in? Yeah.
Probably. Good name recognition makes a big.
8. I think this is what we do. We set the bar at 10, and we say over or under.
I like that.
And you're taking the under on that.
I'll take
the over on.
I'm gonna say, oh, wow, that'd be wild.
I'll take. No. You get under. I'll take eagle or over.
Okay. That's
10
fair.
or more.
That's fair.
So
set
the bar at double digits.
Or it's like, okay, so the line would be like 9.5.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll take the under, you'll take the over, but you're
Exactly.
looking like 10 or 11 kind of thing.
Yep.
I like that. That's fair.
Yep.
Then on top of that, we have the mayor race again next year.
And how many candidates for that?
I want to say 2.
Really?
I think that's the easiest answer. But a part of my gut wants to say 3.
Yeah, I feel like 3 or 4.
I feel like someone else will throw their hat in the ring that we're not expecting to.
Yeah,
I'm going to say 3.
3. Yeah, that's fair. I don't think there's any line to set on that one.
No.
That one's a little bit harder to set a line on.
It's obviously we know Mayor Janser's running again.
Yeah, unless there's something dramatically changes.
Yeah,
But
Josiah Royce has expressed interest to run again.
yeah, matter of fact, earlier on, we haven't spoke to him after the election
Yeah.
about it, but he said he would.
Yeah. And it's been, like you said, it's been a couple months now. So who knows, things can change. And then I really feel like there could be a third wild card that could jump in there too.
Yeah, but that makes me feel like 3 or 4.
At that point, you think if a third does, why not a fourth then?
Kind of. Because, but who knows? I don't know if you want to be the mayor right now. So
Do you think it's anyone on council that runs?
see, that's where I'm leaning no.
I agree with that.
But I don't know.
I agree with that. I think if we do get a third person, it's someone that's not necessarily on council or in city government right now.
Yeah. I think that there's a high likeliness of that. But we'll find out about all that.
We will, and it's coming up soon. Expect in the next couple weeks a little election preview article to come out that we'll have detailing all of the local races and district races here in Minot and a couple of the big statewide ones.
I feel like there's a couple things you're forgetting on our year in review, but I cannot remember them now.
I know for a fact I am, but more recently in the year in review, we've covered a lot of. It's been a quiet fall for Minot, thankfully. After Mike Hayes' appointment to council, the last 2 months have relatively been quiet, and now we're getting the chance to start a different endeavor with Minot Talk, expanding that, especially coming next week. We'll start really ramping that up again after the first of the year, and then I really want to see where we're going to take that going into 2020.
That'll be exciting. It's the Dylan Dunsey. There was a lot of work that we put into that, and then finally and suddenly there was a $1.89 billion lawsuit that was covered by us and one other news company in the state.
Yes. That is a federally filed lawsuit against state employees
This
for
is a fact.
$2 billion. That is filed in court, and there have been responses on both ends that have been going back and forth. And to date, I believe there's us, there's one other, and maybe a third.
Maybe we'll just
At most. I'll say
we'll
it just
allow for that.
just to get something out there. We'll say
That is against. Well, it's not against the state technically.
no, it's not against the state. It's against employees of the state, but the state is choosing to defend them and
so at that
take on
point-
liability.
At that point, it does become state news.
Yes. The state is, because if they are found guilty, the state would cover the bill.
Wah wah wah.
But also, the state's got their big guns out for this. So you have a couple of the assistant attorneys general that are helping, that are on the state's case for this matter. So it's going to be interesting to see, especially next month. There's going to be more responses that are due up. The state's second response is going to be due. So that'll be, we'll keep following that.
And something that's loosely connected to that was another murder trial that was trying to get going.
That is, will be, I think, in March of next year.
Yeah.
The Brejo situation.
But there's been a lot of interesting tidbits that have already come out on
Man,
that
that thing's turned
end
into
of this year.
wild
What a year, man.
It's been crazy.
How would you rate this year on a scale of 1 to 10, since that's what we do now?
Is 10 good?
Well, yes.
I think, like for me or for Minot?
For you.
9.
It was a good year, man.
Fun-wise, yes. I had a blast. It was a great year. I got to coach. I got to do this.
Yeah, a lot of bucket list.
I like my work. Like, it's good.
It's good. So life is good.
Life is good,
Okay.
man.
I'm happy. I don't know that I'm that high on this year though.
That's fair.
But the end of this year has been good.
Yeah.
I feel
What about the last 3 months? Give me that.
well, the last 3 months would be like 8.
That's fair.
I think I just struggle to give out
Good ratings.
the ratings. I think this year would be we'll go with a 6.8.
There you go. It's not terrible.
Not terrible.
Second half a lot better than the first half.
was a lot better than the first half.
Yep, that's a fact.
Yeah.
A lot of changes happened this year.
For
across
sure.
the board.
Just leveling up, man.
Yep. One other thing that took place that I guess we broke the news for, that we just didn't realize we were breaking the news for it like 6 weeks ago, and that's the North Dakota State GOP convention being here in Minot.
That's going to be awesome, dude.
Yep.
And now they're, haters going to hate whether or not the GOP convention is even necessary anymore.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about that, and I mean, I think it's a fair and valid point. That is the nomination part of it necessary, but I think it's still necessary to develop your platform.
Yeah, for sure.
Like as a state party, if you're going to come together and get some form of cohesive platform together, that's where you're going to do it at. Like obviously the nominations probably at this point are minimally, accepted widely, but I really think that this is where you're going to come together and figure out your plan for the next 2 years as a party.
Right, for sure.
And we'll be there to cover it, man.
That's
It's
the
gonna be a
plan.
blast.
If all goes well. So looking forward to that. What a year it's been. It's
been fun.
What's some things that we can look forward to in the next week or so?
The next week or so?
One
Well,
is there a city council meeting coming
there
up?
is next Monday, January 5th.
Monday.
That's going to be a big one, too. We have...
That's what we say about every single one.
Well, I mean, maybe not every single one,
The
but
last one we didn't.
probably not, because everything's going to this one from the last one because, well, yeah.
Should have a full council.
Yeah, well, there should, in theory, I believe, going to be all 7 people at the city council meeting next Monday. There's going to be a lot of discussion on the license plate reader technology and if the city should allow that to
Tyler's
be
hoping they
furthered
pass
or
it.
not. I prefer not, but I guess I wouldn't be wholly,
Wow, you softened your stance on that.
I don't want it, but if it happens, what are we going to do? The state highway. I know. I'm copping out on it. It's a principle one. I wouldn't vote for it.
Should it go before the people? Is this one that should, because it affects every single person?
I will caveat that answer, and I will say, or that wasn't the right use of that term.
We're used to that now.
Yeah, I know. I will give you a question for an answer. I know. Well, half of it. I do you think it's enough? How about that? I don't know. I don't think that I think that the citizens should vote
You
for.
acted like you're gonna have this
No.
great question come back, and you're like,
No.
what do you think?
Should the state vote for it? I think the state should vote for it.
Oh, it should go to the state level.
Yes,
So
I don't
this should
think
be-
I don't think it should be a municipal thing. I think this should be something that's
Okay.
voted on at the state
So
level.
if one, then all.
That's-
if
yeah.
all, then none.
Yeah, which I don't know. That's because
didn't
the
finish that right.
State Highway Patrol and the BCI already use this technology. So it's something that if you're leaving any city limits, you're going to be encountering indirectly or passively throughout your way. If you pass any highway patrols, they have access to this technology.
Yeah, this is fair.
That's why I
Fair,
think this should
actually.
be something that's done more at the state level rather than an individual city by city thing. Because if you go from city to city, guess what? You're still going to have to deal with it. But again, I understand fully why each city has to be able
That'd
to
be literally taking away
the power from that. Yeah, the local municipalities.
and
yeah.
and then it would all be stored in a state database. It'd be way worse.
Yes. Like I'm against it regardless, but I think if there's a vote for it, it should be a statewide vote, not a citywide vote.
Yeah, I think I hear what you're saying. I don't know that I agree with it.
That's fair.
Because I think it would be way worse.
Because
The data, who controls the whole deal about this is not, in my opinion, is not the license plate readers, is the data.
Yeah, and what's-
and who controls it, and where is it stored, and how is it stored, and who has access to it, and what can they do with it? Even if they say they can't do that, what can they do with it? Just questions like that.
Because obviously so much is, intent with the thing. And obviously you want the situation to play out so you can allow people to be safe, because this is going to, in theory, this is going to keep a lot of people safe, and you're going to be able to catch a lot of people doing stuff with this. But so much of like what you said is with the data storage side of it, and people obviously aren't allowed to do these things. They can't just go look at it willy-nilly, but that doesn't mean that people can't do that. Like they're not supposed to, and they get reprimanded if caught, but there's always
there's actually
a case number or possible probable cause.
Or logins that limit it.
Yeah.
Question from Alderman Lisa Olson: what about store video, ring cameras, traffic survey data, etc.?
That's why I'm softer to it, because it is a constant thing anyways. But I feel like it's more of a, for me personally, it's more of a principle thing. Like I don't like any of it, so I would rather not see more of it. But also, it's already all happening.
So you don't like ring cameras?
I have one. I guess that's but I don't. Go ahead.
I don't have one.
Oh, you don't have a Ring camera?
No.
Here. I guess mine's technically not Ring. It's like Vivint.
Oh,
but, yeah.
I don't have one of those either. I don't have a video on my doorbell.
I do. But I don't
yeah,
want...
the point of it is, though, not whether or not you or I have a Ring doorbell. The point of it is we're constantly surveyed.
Yeah.
And it feels like the question has come down to, but the government, do we want to give this surveillance data to the government? They already have some of it, but how much of it do we want to give to them?
Mm-hmm. And like you said, they have it. They have access to it ever since we passed the Patriot Act like 20 years ago. This has been a descent to where we're at now, for lack of a better term, in my opinion. And at this stage now,
we've been on a descent to where we're at.
Yes, of public information and public privacy being lessened and lessened.
Yep.
And now we're to a point where anything you look up at any point online, there are cookies available to check it and use that data to reference points back and forth. And it's such a wide scope that it really probably shouldn't matter to have the LPRs, but it feels, to me, again, it feels like a principled thing where I just don't want to allow that next little bit for them to grab.
I'll go back to, I don't know. I don't know about it. I'm just surprised we don't have already.
Yeah, I think that, again, to go back to like your first point you made when we were talking about this that night, it's surprising that this isn't already a thing.
Right, yeah. It feels like you kind of anticipate it already being a thing.
Yeah. So
if there was no data stored, let's see, because so if you just had the database and then you were checking the license plates as they came by,
mm-hmm.
and then it would pop up on your screen flagging for whatever parameters have been set by council.
But it doesn't log it.
I would be way more fine with it, I think.
That's reasonable.
I do kind of have the concern about them going where there is a crime of some type, and so then they go and they just check all the license plates in that area, and then that's how they start, that's used in the investigation.
That is, that's certain. I guess I believe from what I gathered in theory, that's not supposed to be the case, but I believe it's always a possibility. I don't think there's anything that bars it from happening.
Yeah. I mean, you had in the Anita Knutson, and it's a completely different deal, so correct me every place that I'm wrong on this, but you had a guy that was just running by in the vicinity, right?
Yeah.
So then he became a suspect.
That was, again, it might be a little off, but that was like the chief main suspect for quite a while back in the day.
And then it was determined he wasn't. And that's just because they were in the area at the time of the deal. So if there's no leads, then you're going to be searching for any kind of grain of salt that you can get to get pushed in the right direction.
Yeah. And in this specific situation, having that ability to do so would be that little bit that you
perhaps
might
it could be. I don't know. I don't know. I understand that there's going to be rules that are going to set forth by council and everything. I think that's just my concern on it. Or a concern that I have, not my only concern, but a concern that I have.
But that's why next Monday's city council meeting is going to be a great one.
Good one.
It's going to be exciting. I'll be there. I already have my schedule blocked off. I'll be there. It's going to be fun. I can't wait because they have another public forum that's going to be at the council too on Monday, where you can talk about, I believe, some of the financial planning going into next year. So I anticipate next Monday being a long meeting.
Yeah. Protecting law enforcement instead of criminals is more important to me. I think protecting law enforcement is very important.
Can't argue with that. Like that's fair.
Yeah.
I think that is really so much of like where the two sides kind of are on this thing.
Yeah. I think there's a whole discussion you can get on that. Sherry says, are there any goals you guys are planning for next year? I'd like to lose like 5 pounds.
More than that for me. But
yeah, more than that for me too.
I'd
be more interesting.
Yes. I'd like to host another debate, at least one. That is a set in stone.
This is a constant Kyler goal.
Yeah, I bug this guy with it. I do.
It's just not uncommon to be like, dude, we should do debates throughout the entire state. Like, how would that work, Kyler? Let's break it down.
Because I want to. I'll do it out of sheer willpower.
Yeah. So, not sure that's going to happen throughout the entire state. There's a chance for one locally because there's going to be a few races.
Yep. Expect at least one. And I would love to do 4, 5, 6, but I will not guarantee anything like that. I will say, expect one debate from us. Maybe similar to what the Dakotan did in 2022.
You and I.
Yeah. Yes.
Just you and I debating.
Well, that's like every day.
Okay. All right. So a debate. Minot Talk. Have big plans for that. I think that if there was a goal that we had that we wanted you to look forward to and that you could look forward to, it's the expansion of Minot Talk.
Yep.
We are at more local things, bringing a form of coverage to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe New Year's Eve.
No, probably not. Let's not make any promises this side of the year.
Next year.
It's going to be a lot of great things. 60 days from a couple weeks ago, we're going to be able to finally live stream directly on Minot Talk. So the live streams are going to start going away on the Dakotan. Just be only has Minot Talk.
Yeah, over the next 6 weeks when we do go live, make sure you do start to follow along with the Minot Talk page.
Yeah. Because that's where all the content's going to be eventually.
Yep.
That's going to be a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah, that's going to be
pizza reviews is just the beginning.
Yep, that is our small commitment to the start of this, and it's just going to grow from there.
Yeah.
And when the pizzas are done, well, there's a lot of other food to try in Minot.
There's got to be other things we can do other than stuffing our faces.
Well, of course, we'll go to the events like we were at the Christmas train.
That's pretty awesome.
It was fun. It was cold. It was fun. Gosh,
yeah.
I can't wait. This is going to be a great year.
Good times. Thank you to everyone that has followed us along in 2025. We really appreciate it. We've grown substantially. Are following on YouTube, following on Facebook.
Yeah, we hit 1,000 subs on YouTube.
We did. That was
head.
a huge challenge that we were able to accomplish. Yeah. So thank you to everybody that has supported us in that way. Really appreciate it. It means a lot. And we hope that we can continue to provide some level of coverage to Minot, to North Dakota.
Yeah, we'll keep doing what we do, providing access and coverage of different events that you maybe won't see from the regular news sources.
I think also, though, really huge thank you to everybody that has been willing to come on as an interview.
Everyone that's been a guest throughout the last year plus, thank you. You
means a lot.
Yeah.
I know that that's a lot of time that's taken away from you.
Yeah.
And there's risk coming on and talking wherever the conversation may go, because there's a little bit of a freestyle that happens, and really appreciate it. It does mean a lot that you would trust us enough to at least do that.
Yep. It has been a blast. And again, like Jonathan said, big thank you to everyone that's not just tuned in and watched, but has come on the show. And even though we threw this word around earlier in the show, has given us access to do so.
Yep. Appreciate it. Late question for you, Kyler.
Uh-oh, I'm ready.
So what's happening with the Dunseith debacle? Haven't heard much lately. It's like, this is what the comment says, is like the other illegal stuff that happens and we sweep it under the rug. Nope.
I wouldn't say swept under the rug. It is.
There's a lawsuit out.
Yeah.
And that's going to slow down the work of it.
Yep. And the way the legal system typically works is you will see injunctions and delays push through the process. Like the second state response was originally supposed to be due in the middle of this month of December, but because of the holiday season, end of the year, and their first one was so long, they requested a month delay. So middle to end of January is when the next response is due. And so about a month from now, expect to hear us talking about it more.
Yep, absolutely. We still have some stories planned and maybe a podcast episode or two, but yeah,
it's going to be exciting.
Going to be good. So appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day.